For 350 years, humanity forgot something of great importance. We forgot about the sacred geometries of the labyrinth. During the AIDS crisis, when people all around us were dying, Grace Cathedral was at the forefront. We were there to help people. We were there to make sure that no one died alone. And as we went through that terrible crisis, one of our priests decided that she wanted to introduce a kind of spiritual practice that would help people to move more gracefully into change. And so the labyrinth is what she brought to the world. Her name was Lauren Artras, and she, with a bunch of other priests, went to the cathedral in Chartres Cathedral in France and began this process of figuring out how the labyrinth might help modern people. The great thing about labyrinths is you don't have to have a dogma. You don't have to have a kind of belief. You don't even have to have words in order to do it. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with other people. But the physical practice of using your body draws you into contact with the divine. I think my daughter tells me she's been an adult for about 2 years now. And she says the hardest thing about being an adult is something that you probably know already but may have forgotten. And that is that with the number of choices that we constantly face. She says, we even have to ask questions like, am I the sort of person who eats this donut? And in that world where we're constantly bombarded by decisions, the labyrinth is a wonderful pattern. There's no way that you can get lost. There's only one way in and one way out. It's a metaphor for our journey in life. Now, I usually try to keep two things in mind, especially when I'm walking the labyrinth. The first is to try to suspend judgment, like not ask, is this working? Or does God hear my prayers? Or why am I doing this? Or will my question be answered? But instead to just let those things go, not worry about what you look like or what other people are perceiving as they see you walking the labyrinth. It's really important to suspend judgment of ourselves as we enter into this sacred space. The second thing that's really important for me, I don't know about other people, is to set a kind of intention in coming into the labyrinth. I usually begin with a prayer that may involve a kind of question that I have that's lingering in my life, and maybe about a conflict that I'm experiencing or some strong feelings that I'm having. So I have an idea of just where I am in my life before I enter into the labyrinth. Now, labyrinth walking is an extraordinary thing. There's really 3 different stages of it. There's that first stage where you put yourself in a receiving frame of mind, so you're able to receive the gift that God is ready to give you. The middle section is a feeling of almost coming home, a sense of joy and connection, and a sense of belonging, a sense that you are in the place that you should be in. And then the last phase of walking the labyrinth is, how do I bring what I experience in the labyrinth out into the world? When my daughter was only 7 years old, I have the most vivid memory of the two of us walking the labyrinth together. So there'd be times when our paths would bring us closer together and times when we'd be further apart. But in that moment, I remember having such a strong feeling that God holds her life and my life in God's hands, and that God is protecting us and wants us to thrive and wants us to reach out to God and to experience the sacred. I hope you have the chance to experience the sacred at a labyrinth near where you live or a labyrinth here at Grace Cathedral. My name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral here in San Francisco, California, and this is More Good News.